Hi, welcome back to another video. As you would have seen from the title and the thumbnail, today we are going to be doing the mid-year book freakout tag for 2025. So as usual, by the time this video comes out, I think it would have been a bit later than everyone else's, but it's okay. I do this every year, so if you're interested in my responses for the previous years, I will link them up above. And let's talk about my shirt. Oh my god, so fitting for the theme, right? Also, if you have been here for a while, you might notice that the hair is different. I still am trying to love it, but I feel like it's a downgrade. Okay, never mind. It's very soft too. But I cannot get used to the fact that my hair is quite straight now. I mean, it will grow out and you see the ends are like doing whatever they want, so it's fine. I look normal-ish when I tie it up with this, whatever this thing is called. But yeah, okay, that's not the point of today's video. So I feel like my reading has been relatively slower compared to previous years, like it's on a decreasing trend. So as of today, where I'm filming this, it's end June, like 22 June, and I have finished reading 33 books. And my goal this year is 70. Surprisingly though, I have a lot of physical books to talk about today, which is very exciting. Most of them are either from the library or gifted to me from Times Reads, so thank you very much to them for sending me these copies. Very grateful as always. And yeah, let's start talking through the questions. There are 14 questions. I'll put them down in the description box below. I'll also credit the original creators. Like, feel free to answer the questions for your own reading in my comment box section below, because reading is a great thing to discuss about. Yeah, okay. So first question is the best book I've read so far in 2025. And I have two answers for this, but sadly, no 5 stars this year. But okay, yeah, let's talk about the first one first. The first book that is like one of the best that I've read this year is What You're Looking For. It's in the library. I finally mustered up the courage to read this book because this has been an anticipated read for very, very long, to the point where, you know, like the more you put it off, the more you are scared that when you pick it up, it'll be a disappointment. That was what was happening for this book for me. So I really held off on reading it until then it came up for a video that I made on translated fiction or translated books, and I had to read this for that video and I loved it. Oh my god, it was so good. Okay, basically what this story is about is we follow a few different characters in this community where they end up visiting the community library for some particular reason, and that's when they meet the librarian Sayuri Komachi, who is able to sense exactly what each visitor needs. So she recommends them a book or a few books, and then she also gives them a little crochet thing along with her list of recommendations, and she's like, this is for you. And somehow all of the gifts that she gives them, it ends up like bringing up a message to the person receiving them. Then they're like, oh my god, they get inspired basically. And it talks a lot about different emotions and what each character is going through. And okay, the thing with translated fiction is I kind of expect the writing to not be as good, because with translation a lot of things get lost in translation, you know, so the work of the translator is also very important. And this one, I didn't even feel that it was like a translated book because the writing was very good and it didn't like read off as any weird sounding sentences, you know. I loved it so much. And I really loved the characters. Oh, correction, I just rewatched my own video. Link it above because that's where all the thoughts are. It's not pushing, it's felting. What I also really liked about this, right, is that it has different chapters where we focus on a different character, but you'll find out that the different characters appear in other chapters as well, and they are actually all interconnected in this community, to the point where I drew a map, like connecting all the different characters in the character map, and you can see it in that video. It was so, oh my god, I love books like this that make me like so passionate about it and want to like see it for myself, like, oh, this is linked to this character, and the writing was good, the plot was good. So I deducted 0.5 because of the fat phobia that was in this book. Like, they kept describing the librarian as very large and like abnormally large, like overfilling the space, that kind of thing, and it kind of made me a little bit uncomfortable. But apart from that, like, I really love this story, so it's one of the best I've read this year. And other book I don't have a physical copy of, but it's The Lantern of Lost Memories. Props to Japanese authors, man. Both books that I've read this year, I love the same video, and it's like Japanese translated fiction. so good. Okay, this one is very, very short. Like, it's only 200 pages. So if you are somebody who is trying to like get into the habit of reading, and if this story sounds appealing to you, please pick it up because it's so short, like you can get through it very quickly. And what this story is about is we follow this magical photo studio owned by Mr. Hirasaki, who is a collector of antique cameras, and it's actually like a fantasy setting or magical realism because we follow characters who enter the studio, and when they enter the studio, it means that they are in a place between life and death, and they have one last chance to see their entire life flash before their eyes via his spinning lantern of memories. A whole like mailman will bring a box of photos to the studio before the character comes, and it will be all the photos of their lives. So one photo for one day in their lives, and they have to choose like a certain number put onto the lantern, and then they have to pick and choose between their memories. And it's kind of like in a way where the more you treasure something, for example like a physical photo, then it gets worn out very quickly. So the same logic applies for their photos, and then they get a chance to relive the moment and retake that photo at the same time. So they go through that special memory to them, and they also get to retake the photo to put onto their spinning lantern of memories. And you get to know each character's backstory, which I really, really like, and even including Mr. Hirasaki's as well. I loved it so much. That's why I also gave it 4.5 stars. The reason why I didn't give it the full 5 was because I believe it felt too short. Like I wanted more interactions or more stories or more characters. Yeah, but I still really enjoyed it all the same. So yeah, what a great read. The next question is the best sequel you've read so far in 2025. And this one, I don't know if this counts as a sequel, but it is part of the romance contemporary series, you know, those with like characters that featured in the first book as side characters, they can become main characters in their own book, that kind of thing. For me, that would be my answer, and that is Lizzie Blake's Best Mistake. Okay, this one, right, having read so many contemporary romances, it's very understandable for me to read this book, enjoy it, and then forget about it the moment I move on. But I really like remembered these characters and storylines so well that it really left an impression on me. So I didn't really enjoy the first book, which was A Brush with Love. So I wasn't really like expecting anything for this book, but I enjoyed it so much. So, okay, this one we follow our main character Lizzie. She faces a lot of difficulty with her daily life in that she is always late for her job and always makes a mess. There's so many mistakes. She has ADHD, which is part of the reason why like she is why she is, you know. Because of her ADHD, for example, that's why she's always late. And the boss did give her a lot of chances, but then there hit a point where enough was enough. So she lost that bakery job, and she then breaks her own rule in that she always only hooks up one time with one person, but because of that loss, she then gets into a 2-night stand, and that changes everything because then she has an unexpected pregnancy. And what I felt was really good about this story was that she decided to inform the father as a heads up, you know, this came from our 2-night stand. I'm not expecting you to do anything. I just wanted to let you know, and then I will be having this baby like respect to the other half, you know. Our other main character, who is Rick, he has given up on relationships and feelings and any form of intimacy. Oh, he's Australian, by the way. He's responsible enough to want to do whatever it takes to be part of the child's life, and so they form this like unlikely situation. They're in this situation together. So basically, he's very good in that he was okay with leaving his roots in Australia and coming to live with her, finding a home and everything. He's a very responsible partner in this situation, and then it's just like them navigating what happens together. And I kind of am starting to think maybe like I have a thing for unexpected pregnancy because I really enjoyed Out on a Limb as well, and these two are the only 2 books that I've read with unexpected pregnancy tropes, and I really enjoyed both. But yeah, I don't know, I really like their relationship. Yeah, is what I'm trying to say. I also really liked the way that Rick cares for Lizzie, and it's very steamy as well. At the time when I was reading this book, I picked this up because I wasn't able to focus on the original book that I was reading, and this was a very good time. So yeah, and apart from that, right, okay, it's not just about unexpected pregnancy. You know how we talked about she lost her original baking job. She got another one with this other bakery owner, and he really thrives because for one thing, the owner is very understanding, and the other thing is that she bakes suggestive treats. So it's like, I don't know, cakes or muffins or cupcakes or whatever with like frosting that looks like boobs or something like that. I can't really remember, but those are the kind of suggestive treats I'm talking about, and it's like very interesting to read about also, because where else will you see this, right? But yeah, I really enjoyed this, and I gave this 4.25 stars. So yeah, next is the new release you haven't read yet but want to, and that book will be First Time Caller by B.K. Borison. I actually will be reading this book really soon, so like I'm very excited. So anticipated release, and in this story we follow a hopeless romantic who meets a demoralized radio host. This book has been everywhere and the Goodreads rating is like quite good for it, so I would assume that I don't have to repeat myself. But if you do want to know what this book is about, apart from the short blurb that I shared, there are Goodreads pages. You can also check out more of my anticipated releases up above as well. But yeah, I'll be reading this very soon, so yes. Next question. Most anticipated release for the second half of the year, and that book is The Build a Boyfriend Project by Mason Diva. To summarize what this book is about, it's about a journalist in a dead-end job who agrees to teach his disastrous blind date how to be a better boyfriend, and he's also like writing an article out of it. I love books where one character is teaching the other like all the relationship stuff, like, you know, showing them the ropes, like, I don't know, how to go on dates, what should you do on dates, what do people like, what do people not like, and then in the process they fall in love with each other. Cutest thing? Yeah. That is Build a Boyfriend Project. Next question. Biggest disappointment is going to be A Novel Love Story by Ashley Poston. Ashley Poston has written so many good books that I really love, so I was obviously expecting a lot for this one, but I feel like the plot, the concept delivered more than what the execution actually did, which is very like sad, because the basis of this story is that our main character ends up in the town of her favorite book, the setting of her favorite book, and in normal circumstances, anyone who is in this situation, I would believe would be very like excited, apart from your, oh my god, how am I gonna get out of this town, right? Like the, oh my god, I'm in my favorite book series, like I'm gonna talk to all my favorite characters, I'm gonna see all the places that were described in the book with my own eyes, I'm gonna like just bask in this setting. But she is very calm, she doesn't really like act like, oh my god, like what is happening, you know? And there were a few times where I felt like the logic wasn't very good, because she finds out certain things but she doesn't like pursue and find out the answer, like how these things are happening, only until the end where everything is revealed. And to me that was just very weird. Like, why? Logically the characters shouldn't do that, you know, like they shouldn't wait until the end of the book. Yeah, that's just my opinion. But yeah, it's super disappointing. But I would say that it disappointed me because I was expecting a lot more, because the storyline, as in the concept, was very interesting, but the execution wasn't so. So yeah, this was a disappointment. Next question. Biggest surprise would go to The 13th Child by Aaron A. Craig, who wrote House of Salt and Sorrows, which I don't think I've read before, but I have heard of the book. And going into this, as someone who doesn't read fantasy often anymore, I was very intimidated by the size of this book. But it was so interesting that it didn't even feel super long. It also helps that each chapter is very short and the plot was very interesting. It's a standalone fantasy, which I really liked, but in the middle, or like towards 3/4 of the book, I was worried that it would end up being a duology, because there were a lot of things to tie up. But in the end, the story ended at a point where I was satisfied, and I really enjoyed this a lot more than I thought I was going to. So yeah, it's a little gothic and a lot of things are happening, but I really enjoyed it. The writing was good, the plot was good. It's books like this that make me remember why I like reading fantasy, and like gives me hope that I can, you know, continue to read fantasy, and certain books I will still enjoy them, like how I did for this book. I give this 4.25 stars. So yeah. Next question. Favorite new author, debut or new to you, would have to go to Sanaka Hiraki, who wrote The Lantern of Lost Memories, because the plot I really liked, and the writing, although I know it's from the translator, I would assume that they took their writing style from the original author. So like, yeah, I look forward to more of this author's works. Newest fictional crush will have to break from Lizzie Blake's First Mistake, because apart from the bar being low in that he is willing to be there to move across the country for her to have their baby together, even though like they are technically strangers, he's willing to make it work out and things like that, and he was always very considerate of her in the whole situation. It's never like he's forcing her or anything, he's just trying to do things he thinks that she would benefit from. And also, he just sees her in this special light. He's just enraptured by her. He says things like, your brain was built different and that's beautiful, never a burden. I don't think you break things. I think you make things better, a lot better. Yeah, I really liked reading him in that book. And also, I just finished this book today, so I might be off a high, but I also really enjoyed reading about Hutchison from Love Haters, because he's like a fictionally like super perfect character, you know. He is like a Coast Guard, so it means like he's very attractive and he's tall, he's charming, he has a freaking rescue dog, he rescues people for a living, but also the fact that he is attractive, but he's not the kind that knows he's attractive, which may be annoying for some people, but for me, I like that he's oblivious to the fact that he's very attractive and he just likes the main character, and he's like, do I even have a shot, that kind of thing, I don't deserve you, that kind of thing. And also the fact that, like, you know, he's like the kind of character where he doesn't really talk much to other people, but when he meets the right person, he just like, he talks and flows very easily with that other person, and it's like making that person feel special. Like, yeah, I really liked that part of his character as well. So I may really hate his character in a few days, I don't know, but for now he's one of fictional crushes, definitely. He may say a certain few weird things at times, but other than that, fictional crush, along with Rick. Next is newest favorite character. I would say it's Sayuri Komaki from What You're Looking For Is in the Library, because I really like her character and the way that she talks to people. She's not like a very friendly, welcoming librarian in that sense, but she somehow is able to sense what each character needs from the library and the way that she helps them, and I don't know, I just really liked her character. So good, so good. Yeah, okay. And next question is a question that I always tend to skip, which is book that made me cry. I didn't cry at any of the books this year, but special shout out to the only book that made me cry last year. The two books that made me cry: The Rom-Comers by Catherine Center and A Cross Country Christmas by Courtney Walsh. Just because every year I do this, I don't have books to talk about that I cried in, but last year, for some reason, these two books were the standouts. So yeah, always has to do with the thought of death or like a loved one on the brink of death, and that just triggers me in a way that I cannot explain, but I would say it's a universal experience for everyone. So yeah, these two books I cried in. Book that made you happy, it would have to be Knives, Seasoning and a Dash of Love. This book was very fun in that there's a lot of cooking elements because they're both chefs. It really felt like a handsome Gordon Ramsay and his like sous chef, you know, having fun, and I just really liked it. It talks a lot about the culinary industry as well, and like, for example, our main character here, he is an Asian American and all the difficulties he faces because of that, and also our other main character is female in a mainly male-dominated industry, and her struggles with that as well. It's a very interesting read and I was very happy about reading this. But recently, again, as I mentioned, I binged this in the most of today because it was very readable and I really enjoyed the plot. Basically, in this we follow our female main character who is a video producer for a corporate company. So she produces videos based on what the clients would like, and she gets this assignment to film about Coast Guard rescues. And she doesn't know how to swim, which is a requirement to being part of this video shoot, because there is a possibility that when you're in a helicopter, the helicopter may capsize and you have to like be able to swim to rescue yourself. And she doesn't, but she gets the job anyway. And then she meets the main profile that she was shooting called Hutch, and he's like the rescue guard. And their story develops from there as they get to know each other on a deeper level. Like, all this like Coast Guard thing is making my head very imaginative, and the plot was very interesting as well because you get to see how she shoots these things, and on the side she also has a YouTube channel where she films heroes in their day in the life. So for example, like firefighters, Coast Guard rescuers, things like that, what they do on a daily basis. And it also talks about the message behind why she wants to film these kinds of videos. And on the other hand, she also has like body image issues. She has an eating disorder, and how she is struggling with her body image and how she slowly like comes to terms with her own body, which was a good message to have. I will save more of that in my review, but I really binged this in the day because I really wanted to see more of their interactions together. And there's a very cute dog in this. He's a rescue dog, but he's a Great Dane, so he's very tall. And he's like a very gentle giant who loves to like have toads in his mouth every time he sees them. Don't know why, but yeah, very very cute. And I think I'm in a minority for this one because I see the ratings are a little bit not as nice, but I really enjoyed this again. Next is favorite book to film adaptation that I've seen this year. I have two. Normally I don't have, okay, but this year I have two. First is Fairy Tale 100-Year Quest. I don't know if manga qualifies, but I really liked the adaptation when I saw it this year. Can't wait for more episodes. I think there's more coming out this year, end of the year. And as someone who has watched Fairy Tale for a very long time, and has had the series like ended, the animation ended a few years back. It was really great to be back in this world. All of the characters, I love them so much, and the plot, I really feel like it's more fan service this time because we get to see like so many canon ships. Like Gruvia is a thing now, Jalal and are they called Jerza? They're also a thing now. Everyone is a thing now except for freaking Nalu, so I'm still waiting for that, but I am also reading the manga, the 100-Year Quest on the side. My next answer is the live action of How to Train Your Dragon. Oh my god, I watched this in cinemas with a 4D kind of chair, so every time like the dragons like flew, our chairs would shake, like sway, and then it will vibrate when there are like fires being shot or things like that. So good. It was such a good movie experience, and I will always say that How to Train Your Dragon was a very good series that if I were to answer like what's my favorite movies, How to Train Your Dragon would be part of them. But I'm not so intense in that I remember everything. I just remember that it's a very good movie. So when I first watched the animation, I completely forgot certain plot points and I was like watching it for the first time and I really enjoyed it again. The music, Toothless, oh my god, okay, but I do see the complaints in that some people think that Hiccup is too handsome, the actor for this first movie. The blondes are not blonde for some reason in this movie, the twins are not identical, but I still really enjoyed the overall experience watching the movie, so I can't wait for the second movie, even though it's gonna take 2 years. Toothless is, oh my god, I just love Toothless so much. Okay, we are approaching the end. Last two, most beautiful book you've bought so far this year or received. It will have to be, okay, I can't count library editions, but like look at the spray painted edges just to show you. But okay, the next one I would say is, my official answer would be A Language of Dragons. I have 2 copies and look at how beautiful both of them are. Like what the heck? Okay, so this is just the dust cover. Okay, let's talk about the inside. Look at this spine. Like what the heck? So good. And then we have the other edition. Look at the end papers. Like what the heck? It's so crazy. Oh my god, look at the front. Oh my god. Oh my god. You can see it, right? Oh yeah, so good. Look at that. Look at that. Oh my god. That is my answer. And last question, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? I don't really have any particular books in question. I just would like to read more anticipated releases, which is from my list up from previous videos, and try to catch up to all the time to read books that I've received. So yeah, with that I've come to the end of this video, and thank you so much for watching. Let me know like what's the best book you've read so far this year so that I can add them to my to read list as well. Or if you want to answer any of the other questions, let me know too. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. Consider subscribing to this channel to see more of such content. I hope you're having a great day or a great week whenever or wherever you're watching. Remember to stay hydrated, and I'll see you in my next video.